Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to the Cool Kids Lunch Table Podcast with PJ and Mike. Now find yourself a seat at their table.
Hello, and welcome to the Cool Kids Lunch Table Podcast with PJ and Mike. I'm Mike.
I'm PJ.
And today we're going to be discussing current Hollywood entertainment news. We'll be talking about the news article that's been kind of going, I'll say, viral in the internet world about Disney's Boy Trouble. The studio is seeking original IP to win back Gen Z. We're also going to talk about James Cameron, how he's dead set on making on these Avatar films. Some news about the new Matt Reeves Batman 2 film, and also stuff about Pirates of the Caribbean possibly making a comeback. So, PJ, we have a lot to cover.
We do. We sure do.
So, guys, this first article is actually from Variety.com. It's by a gentleman named Matt Donnelly. So, the title of it is Disney's Boys Trouble. Studio seeks original IP to win back Gen Z men amid Marvel Lucas struggles. So, according to the article, PJ says, Walt Disney Studios has been pressing Hollywood creatives in recent months, and multiple sources say, for the movies that they want to bring back young men back to their brand in a meaningful way. And they define young men as ages 13 to 28, also known as Gen Z.
So not us then.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And the article actually talks about how, like, our generation, we're millennials, they're doing well with us. We're like, now we're taking our kids to see, you know, things that we like to enjoy, like the Lilo and Stitch in the article they talk about. And, you know, they keep, you know, bringing back that nostalgia for us, the Lion King, blah, 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 you know. So, and it kind of goes on more to say about what, which I think is kind of unfair to say, but they're saying that in this article, it says that numerous studies show that Gen Z men in particular are lonely, gaming obsessed, who have been hampered in their formative years during the COVID lockdowns. I think there's some truth to that, of course. However, this article does omit a lot about how Disney in particular kind of sucked the, I'll say the masculinity at a lot of their content, you know, because it doesn't talk about how, you know, originally, early 2000s, Disney was in this weird place where they had so much, I'll say, like, female-oriented content. Like, I mean, they had, like, the, you know, Frozen and Tangled, all these different things, and they didn't really have a lot of boy-oriented stuff. Like, they had,
they put everything in the Marvel and Star Wars basket. They put all the eggs in that Marvel Star Wars basket.
And that's why they acquired it, because they didn't have any boy things. You know, they had Pixar, they had Toy Story, but that was, like, enough
That's
to
for
be
everybody.
Yeah. They wanted something specific. So that's how they got the reason why they pursued Marvel originally, and also why they got Star Wars. I think they're always going to get Star Wars, I think, eventually, but that's another reason why they definitely wanted to acquire it. But they don't really talk about it in the article. They kind of just mainly focus on how Disney's kind of right now saying, like, oh, we're, you know, the lackluster of the Marvel films now have been kind of flailing, and then, you know, the Indiana Jones reboot, blah, blah, blah. And I said it's a good article overall, but I think it failing to mention about, like, hey, you kind of, you know, did like a swap. You know, all these things were male oriented, and you switched it out which is fine, you know, but, you know, it started to get a little bit, like, I'll say, as we said before in the past, a little cringy with, you know, the race. All of a sudden, she's Rey Skywalker. You know, they knew the Hulk. The Hulk now is just, I mean, he's completely a dweeb now. I mean,
they messed up a lot with the Hulk. I mean, the smart Hulk has been a thing in the comics for years, but that's not what people want in the movie. People want Hulk smash. You know what I mean? They want Hulk smash, and they did that in a way that kind of made that character suck.
Yeah, but you don't. I mean, PJ, you correct me from. Did they make with smart Hulk very, like, meek and you know, like?
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't the way he is in the movie at all. It was
that's
way
what I'm
different.
saying is,
But I think what happens with that Hulk character, not to get too sidetracked, is you can't do anything with the character in the movie if you can't have character development. And Hulk Smash, there's no character development, but you make him smart so you can have him do something different, and it just makes the character boring. There needs to be a happy medium. He needed to be not super scientist smart Hulk. He just needed to be Hulk back at top.
Yeah, it also
that's what they needed.
Yeah, they also didn't have to, like, you know, like, well, I forgot which movie it was. Like, they can't have Bruce Banner inside of a Iron Man suit. I want to see Hulk. You know, Hulk really should have been in that final battle in Endgame. You know what I mean? He should have been running around beating people up.
Yeah,
he's not even in there. you know, and they just made him. And I never watched She-Hulk, you know, but they kind of made him like a dweeb. He doesn't understand. I'm like, this guy was been tortured, you know, chased, hunted down. I think he's been through a lot of trauma too. So.
Yeah, they didn't handle that character well in the movies at all.
No
For sure.
way. But yeah, just going back to this article, like I said, it's very interesting. And I'm just gonna read a few more things that they said in it. They said, they says this is from execs from Disney. It says, I never thought I'd say it, but it looks like Disney is going to have to start trying. Whoa. Okay.
So they're saying they need new IP. They want to create new characters, create new things that we've never seen. And look, that's
Marvel,
what they need to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
But can't they go back into the well a little bit? Because if you look at some of the characters that they have that they're not really utilizing, can you, I don't want to use the word modernize them or live action them, but just bring them back.
Yeah.
A character like Hercules. Like they have that character, which from all the animated cartoons, if you look at Hercules, that was probably the one that was most geared toward boys at that point.
Yeah.
There really was no princess in it. It was following his story. Why not? If you don't want to create, or they don't have the ability because there's no creative people left over in Hollywood to create something new, bring back Hercules, bring back Aladdin to focus more on Aladdin and not Jasmine this time.
Yes.
So they did the live action. It was more about Jasmine than it was Aladdin.
Yep.
You have these characters in your portfolio already. Just use them.
Yeah. That's all fair. I think also too. I think, like I said, I thought this guy wrote a good article overall. You know, I mean, you can't write a book. I think one of the things that they have to, I think all entertainment really has to focus is, and like, I think you talked about it too in our last, I can't remember which review. I think you were saying like certain things are becoming the Westerns, like they're kind of just dying out. And I think it's just like, I think sometimes like, you know, where our generation, the millennials, it's like, there's only so long you can milk these things out. Like it is what it is. Like you can't. How many times? Like I think Star Wars is something that started in the '70s. You know what I mean? And obviously, like we know how Disney mishandled all those sequels. Blah blah blah. But what I'm trying to say is, I agree. It's we've been saying we need more original content. But if they really want to make their money, you got to start. You got to create something new. You can't just keep going back to these things. It's over, man. Like. You know, I'm not saying all the superheroes, these things are timeless. I get all that, but if you want to really, change things up, you got to start something new. And the best example I can say that something that is new that was a huge hit was John Wick. You know, that's huge. That's a fairly new. I think it started 2012. I think it started 2015.
Yeah, it
somewhere
was
around there.
2000s, I think.
Yeah. So I mean.
But that movie didn't start off huge. The first one was more of a cult hit.
Yes.
And then it's kind of, grew from that cult hit of the first one. And it had the benefit of Keanu Reeves being everyone's favorite actor. He's probably the most likable guy in Hollywood. So I think it helps when you have an actor like that to anchor a franchise. But with Disney, if we say they need to bring more, younger guys into watching the movies and everything else, I think another part of it is that's great that this is your plan. But if you want to make a movie today, it's not going to come out. We're in 2025. It's not coming out before 2028. It takes entirely too long to make a movie now. So you can't change your direction on a dime anymore. You want to change your direction? You could start, but you're not going to see the realization of it for 3 years. And by that point, what was relevant today won't be relevant anymore. So you have to speed up the process of making the film, which means it's not going to be an epic. It's just going to be a small 90 to 105-minute movie that's not such grand in scale.
That's a really fair point. I do agree. I think that could benefit them making a smaller, tighter film. That could benefit them. I was just on vacation, PJ, and I watched one animated film was called Raya and the Last Dragon.
I've seen that. Yeah.
That was okay. I'm not gonna get into that, but it was about 90 minutes. But the movie I watched afterwards, I didn't finish the whole thing. I saw it countless times, but I haven't watched it in years. Was Rush Hour, with Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker, and that movie's only 90 minutes, bro.
Yeah,
it's 90 minutes. Yeah. And while I was watching, I only got maybe through the first 20 minutes. It's amazing how the pacing in them. They don't make movies like that anymore. That have that kind of pacing where within the first. Within the first 15 minutes, you already know the plot is all right. Jackie Chan, 20 minutes in, Jackie Chan has met, Chris Tucker, and it's really brilliantly paced. And anyway, I think that turned into a franchise. So I think you can make this 90-minute film.
Absolutely, they can.
That kind of hits all those things, make it enjoyable, make it male oriented. I mean, like, I can't remember how long the original Karate Kid is. I can't imagine. What, maybe an hour 45 minutes.
Yeah,
It's possible.
I don't think it was even 2 hours. Now it wasn't.
Yeah, but I know what you're saying. That like you said, the years of development take a while. But there has to
Yeah.
be. I know there's creative people out there. They're not really embracing it. So maybe now they're gonna be more open minded to it. You know.
I think another thing that hurts, I don't know if it hurts the film industry, but it hurts this bringing a younger, whether you want to call him a
Hmm.
kid or an adolescent, whatever, into
Hmm.
the theaters. Like when we were kids, the movies we were watching probably weren't meant for us.
Right.
You know what
Yes.
I mean?
Yes.
RoboCop,
Yes.
Rambo. People were just getting like mauled down with all sorts of, and it wasn't for us, but we watched it, right?
Hmm.
They weren't so inappropriate that like you couldn't have someone when we were kids watching it,
Yeah.
but you would never see that happen now. So what is there to bring a boy into the movie theater? Like what's
Yeah.
the story you're gonna tell that's gonna feel like it's for them? Because for me, it's RoboCop and it's Rambo and it's
Yep.
all those movies, Judge Dredd.
Yep.
If you can't show them that now, then what is the movie you have to show them? Like what's the
Yeah.
what do you, because all those movies, if they came out now, they'd be out an R, we'd never be able to get a kid into it.
Yeah.
So what kind of movie are you gonna show them? And that's a question I don't know how to answer.
Yeah. No, that's a great point.
And I think that's why the superhero movies kinda are the ones that are lasting and the Star Wars are the ones that are lasting because they're tame in the end of the
Yeah.
day. There's nothing too even the darkest of those superhero movies, if you look at like a Zack Snyder superhero movie,
Hmm.
if those are considered dark, but they're not Rambo.
Yeah. 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 I think you need to kind of almost, take a page from like, hey, the past, and not just do like a redo or reboot of different things, but like I think a movie like remember like the Wizard is like video game tournament, that
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Like you got to make it where like it's somewhat grounded more in reality. Like
Yeah.
even like an ET, these things have done before, but like it's possible. The Goonies, I'm trying to think of others, like a Home Alone. You can do it. It is possible. You got to just really, you got to be creative and clever about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like this far outreached thing, you know. And I just feel like Disney. I feel like Disney. I'm sure till this day they're probably still kicking themselves because at one point they were going to have Harry Potter inside their park,
Oh, they
and
probably really, yeah.
What's her name? J.K. Rowling. She
J.K.
said,
Rowling.
she said when
She said, "Too many trans people in Disney. I won't allow it."
She said, when they were built, she said, I don't want like Harry Potter to have like Mickey Mouse ears. I want it to
Mhm.
be, and they were like, kind of like,
Yeah.
no, we want like this, and this,
Yeah, they
and
wanted
then,
Mickey Mouse in a Hufflepuff robe.
yeah, exactly. And she didn't really want that. So Universal was like, we will give you anything you want to do. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, the reason why I bring that up, folks, is Disney, like Harry Potter, like for me, that's a new franchise. I know it's been around since the late 90s now, but that's still fresh and that attracts boys and girls. I think they try to do that with Marvel and Star Wars. They try to convert it to make it appealing to both, which I
Right.
think didn't help them out in the long run. But I think there is some creative person out there who can make something that can be
Yeah.
appealing to boys. It's not like it's impossible. You have the video game thing. You have all the. I mean, Universal. They're gonna come out supposedly with the what's it called? Legend of Zelda, I think, live
Yep.
action or animated thing.
Yep.
So it's
That's a pretty good.
possible, but I don't think it's difficult. Like you said, you make great points, man, about like the development and all these things. I'm sure there's a whole science to it, absolutely, but I think it's possible. Hmm.
It's funny though, because you have to really single out Disney on this. Because if you look at the other production companies and you go to like Paramount,
Yeah.
Paramount's giving you, I think it's Paramount that does all of these, is giving you like Sonic the Hedgehog, Ninja Turtles never go out of style. Like there's
Yep.
always a Ninja Turtle. So
Hmm.
they have stuff, right? They have stuff for both, sides of the coin. Universal obviously does. They do a lot of the animated stuff. They do Transformers and all that stuff is they're in Universal Studios. I don't know if they
Yes.
make the movies, but they're
Hmm.
in their park, so they're somehow attached to it.
Yep.
But Disney really is the one that's struggling with it. And you would think they'd have the easiest time just with the IP they already own.
Yeah.
It seems like it should be easy, and for them it's not. I just booked a trip. I'm going to Disney in October.
Hmm.
And the reason I say this is it kind of ties into it, even with the parks in a way. So we're booking like our reservations for dinners and all the
Yeah.
other things we want to do, right? And as you go through all the different restaurants that are available in Disney, there's one based on Beauty and the Beast. You go to Epcot and there's the one based on Frozen, and then you go to all of these different parks and everything. The ride they just turned it into the Splash Mountain now. I forget the
Oh,
new name of it.
Tiana's.
That's Tiana. Right. And then there's like a whole thing for that. So even in the parks, it's very geared one way. The only restaurant that's like themed to a character that felt like it could go both ways is the new Toy Story restaurant.
Yeah.
But otherwise they're all geared in one way, even in those parks. They definitely have made a decision at some point, and I think this is not a recent decision. This goes back to when they first started these parks, probably.
Yeah.
To focus on one direction, and now a million years later, it's tough for them to pivot.
Yeah, great point, man. Absolutely. It's funny because I was just thinking about some of the Disney animated classics. Like, I think Aladdin is really, you need more movies like that. Like you take an old school story, maybe dive more into the Greek stories and just adapt them. They did it with Hamlet, with Lion King. You can do it. So maybe they should just kind of go back to, what worked with the Renaissance period, trying to take these classic, stories and then emphasize it with that. But
there is a movie I am sure that Disney can make with like samurai stories.
Yes.
There's, cowboys. And I know we have Woody, but
yeah,
you can have a cowboy movie. It could be animated.
Yep. I think we're missing in all genres because we have clearly tons of science fiction, a lot of action. We need adventure. They try to reboot it with Indiana Jones. I know we liked the last film. It was fine. It was, it was good for what it is. But like, you need something. It didn't work with the one with the video game Uncharted. He was too young. Tom Holland looks too young anyway. He's 30. He looks 15.
He was the wrong casting for that.
Yeah, but I think you need a good adventure film. That's why I think the pirate we're going to talk about later, the Pirates of the Caribbean. You need adventure. I think you can get a lot of mileage out of that. But speaking of someone getting a lot of mileage out of things, is James Cameron, PJ. So
this guy.
PJ and I have been complaining about James Cameron, saying, why is this guy so hell-bent about continuing with the Avatar franchise? And this is also from Variety.com, same site that had the previous article. And it says, James Cameron, in a recent interview at Rolling Stone, said that he's giving his filmmaking career entirely to Avatar.
Oh my God.
In hope of doing good for the world, not just making boatloads of money, which they have done so far. This is what he said, PJ, quote, "Do I think that movies are the answer to our human problems? No. I think they're limited because people sometimes just want entertainment and they don't want to be challenged in that way. I think Avatar is a Trojan horse strategy that gets you into a piece of entertainment, but then works on your brain and your heart and a little bit in a way."
I think he has his head up his own ass.
Yeah, look, that's very admirable, bro. I get all that. I mean, I think everyone comes with a movie you want to. A lot of movies had that. You want to send some kind of message, or whether it's political, environmental, whatever. I don't know. You want people to be kind to one another. All that's fine. But he's a very creative man. I want to be like, dude, you're trying to tell me you're investing all of your might into this, all of your being. Because I looked on the article, his last, I'll say, original film was before Avatar was
Terminator?
Titanic, 97.
Oh, right.
So from 97 to I think Avatar came out 2008, 2009, somewhere around there. All those years, I think he was doing research about like Titanic, whatever he's doing a bunch of deep sea diving. So all those years, I think he was also developing the story and he wanted the technology to catch up to it, blah, blah, blah. So he finally made Avatar. But now it's, that it was like a big gap. It was like 12 years between the second one. Now Avatar 3 is coming out this December, but man, like, bro, you're really that invested. I mean, like, you really want to do good for the world.
I hope the next Avatar makes $0.
I know. I'm telling
because I want him to do something else.
Yes.
I mean, he won't do something else if it doesn't make $0.
The last two films made over $1 billion. This I'm really curious because the first one was like a phenomenon. You know what I mean? The second one, people were like, "Oh man, I really enjoyed the first one," and you don't really hear anyone talk about it anymore. So this third one might be like the Rise of Skywalker, where people are gonna see it, but not as much as gonna be.
I'm not gonna see it. I still haven't watched the second one.
It's really just forgettable, man. It's really forgettable. It's fine.
I hate the first one. With a burning passion, I hate the first one. Nothing puts me to sleep faster than that first movie.
What makes these movies rough is Sam Worthington. Very nice guy. He does his part. But like, I guess he's a perfect casting for this kind of movie. You know what I mean? He's just like that. He could be animated. Yeah, he could be. He don't even need to act anymore. They could just take an AI and someone could just draw his character, which they do already with the technology. But PJ, I want to tell you a little bit more about the article. This is what James said. He said, people are asking us, why did you just keep working in the same thing, meaning Avatar? He says, why did George Lucas keep working the same thing? Why did Gene Roddenberry keep working the same thing? Because you connect with people. Why would you squander that? Why would you start over with something else that might not connect?
I disagree with that entire thing. George Lucas, yes, he's stuck with Star Wars for the long haul of it, but I feel like at some point George Lucas stepped away from the storytelling and revolutionized the technology that people were using
Yeah.
with ILM and all that other stuff. And it wasn't about making movies for him anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't hear anybody ever say like, "Oh, I made my movie using the James Cameron technology or this, or
Yeah.
we mixed it at Avatar Ranch. We mixed our movie at Avatar." There is no Avatar Ranch. You know what I mean? Like Skywalker Ranch became like a whole thing. ILM became a whole thing. I don't think George Lucas wanted to stay in the storytelling world, which is why he sold Star Wars.
Yes.
So I don't think that's a good comparison that Cameron made at all. What was the other one he said?
Gene Roddenberry. So the guy did Star Trek.
Well, because sometimes you're just a one-trick pony.
Yes, I agree with both your points. I think to James Cameron, like someone like George Lucas and Gene Roddenberry, they, and look, and also Lucas made Indiana Jones, and like you said, he was, like I said, he was very much into developing, I'll say, like film technology and everything. But I also want to tell James Cameron, like, you're a different league with those guys. Like your whole catalog is different stuff. You have The Abyss, you have The Terminator, you did Alien, you did Titanic, you did True Lies. All different types. Those are dramatic, science fiction, comedy. All different types of things. Historical fiction, like. You're doing 5 movies now, and it's not like you did, like, look, if you spent 5 years in each movie 5 in a row, fine, I get it. But these are 12 years. There's a 12-year gap, between the first and second. That's a big gap, dude. That's the difference. That's what we're saying.
Something
within all that time, yeah.
I'm not saying he needs to do Terminator 12, but
exactly.
Do something new.
So, but yeah, that's what. So, bottom line, PJ, we're getting Avatar 4 and 5.
And then by that time, he'll be dead. He's not a young guy.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But how old is he now? He's got to be what?
71.
70?
Yeah, 71.
So it's going to take what? 3 is coming out now. It'll be what, another 5 years before we get to.
I gotta say, they gotta be filming back to back. Like this year.
Because if they're not,
they gotta wrap up in 2027. It has to, or 2028 the latest. You know what I mean?
I guess this thing is he's not going to be 90 making Avatar.
Right.
Or maybe he will be 90 making Avatar.
Speaking of Disney, PJ, going back to that, I remember they announced months ago. I don't know if it's still in the works, but I think Disney California Adventure, they're going to put a second Avatar land, which I think we both said we didn't want, and I believe so, but I think both of us agree that we don't really want one is enough.
What is it? That whole entire section of that park, by the way, was a one and done for me. I didn't think it was all that great. I waited on hours-long lines
for the 3D one
to get into the 3D one. Even the other little dark ride.
That ride's terrible. The river ride's terrible. That's a terrible.
Nothing to it. There's nothing to that ride.
That's a terrible ride.
The land itself is bland and boring. I didn't think it felt like special. Look, I know I'm a bigger Star Wars fan than an Avatar fan, but when you walk into Star Wars land, you're like, oh shit, I'm in Star Wars. When you walk in Universal to Harry Potter land, you're like, oh shit, I'm in Harry Potter world. When I walked in that, I'm like, it's a tree. All right, let's move on. There's nothing special about it. Oh man, they must have paid so much money that they have to get their return on investment. But we have to suffer for it.
Speaking of,
create a new ride. Pirates of the Caribbean, the ride wasn't based on anything. They made a pirate ride and it became a franchise. Haunted Mansion became make a new fucking ride, man.
Yes, I agree. It's crazy they haven't done that. You know what I mean? So that's most amazing. It's amazing that they just came out with the Mickey Mouse Runaway. That's the first Mickey Mouse ride. Yeah, that was until 2020, whatever the heck it was. I mean, all that years, almost 100, was 75 years of that park.
Nothing new.
That's amazing.
Nothing original.
That's amazing. Unbelievable.
But why not just come up with a new something? I don't know. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. Everyone goes to those parks, and no one's like, "Oh man, I can't wait to." They'll do the rides that are based on Tron and all that
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
But like the allure of those parks is still the original rides. So
Yep.
come up with an original ride for us.
Yeah.
A dark ride. I don't even need it to be an original roller coaster. Like a dark ride with a new concept that we've never seen. I don't know. I don't know. I don't get it. Jungle Cruise. Jungle Cruise is great. That became a movie. Whether or
Yeah.
not that movie was good is debatable, but there are parts of it I like a lot. There are parts I don't like as much, but it's not. But it was still I don't understand. I don't understand.
Well, that's their game plan now. Disney's to make their own original IP.
Good.
Boy focus, but definitely they need to definitely double down on it. No question. Speaking of other big things, so Matt Reeves Batman 2. So Colin Farrell has confirmed that his role as a Penguin will be limited in the new film. Limited.
I'm not shocked by that.
Yep. Obviously, Robert Pattinson is coming back, and this article is from fandomwire.com. And as we know, PJ, this is going to be a separate universe from the James Gunn universe.
Yep.
Which is very interesting. I think it's getting more interesting because we know the new Superman did well, not as well as I liked it to do. You know,
I mean, just crossed 600 million,
which is great. That's very good.
Great for that, yeah.
But not as good as much as Man of Steel made. So it's interesting.
I love that comparison just because less people go to the movies now that went to the movies then. So, you know, you're in a world where back then Man of Steel came out and you had to wait almost a year to get this thing to watch it at home. And now these movies are hitting streaming in a couple of months. There's no incentive to go to the theater. I think we have to stop looking at the box office numbers as it didn't hit 800 million, so it wasn't successful. I don't think anything outside of probably Avatar, unfortunately. I just don't think we're going to see those numbers anymore because the way people consume the content has changed.
I agree with that to a certain extent. I mean, like we had Deadpool Wolverine last year. You had the Spider-Man Far From Home, the one that has all the Spider-Man in it. That made a lot of money, man. You know?
Yeah.
So I think it's a little bit of that too in there for sure.
You said the comic book fatigue is a real thing. I mean, I think we're not going to see comic book movies make that money anymore.
Yeah.
But I think 600 million, 700 million, that range might just be the tops of what we can see for these going forward.
Yeah.
Time will tell with the next Avengers movie, but yeah, it made 600 million, so it's definitely a profitable movie. They are James Gunn working on the Superman sequel. I think as much as I've said I love the Batman with Robert Pattinson, I wish they would have just ended the universe and not made any more of them.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised because I think originally they were going to almost cancel Batman 2. And I think, look, for me, I didn't love that movie, but I don't find it's not as like, I think people even forget it's even been made. You know what I mean? I think it's, it's not like the Dark Knight trilogy or even, I think the Batman, Ben Affleck Batman is still more popular than Robert Pattinson's. No one even.
So Ben Affleck's Batman was great. So it's just, we never got that movie.
I'm just surprised. I'm just surprised they're even bother making a sequel now.
Yeah.
And what's her face is not coming back either. What's her name?
Catwoman, Zoe Kravitz.
Yes, she's not coming. So that's huge.
Here's the conundrum they're in with the Batman movie. It's not going to connect to the James Gunn verse, right? And it can't. I mean, you've seen both movies. There's just no way to do it, and that's fine. But then don't put two competing Batman films out at one time because you gotta stay the course. And I'm guessing there was something contractual that said Matt Reeves gets to make another one of these.
Yeah.
They don't have a choice. But I don't know. You're seeing a lot of success. You're seeing a lot of success with this Superman movie. Peacemaker just coming back. People really want to see more Nathan Fillion. He's been a breakout from this. And now you're going to jump to another universe that's going to be super dark and super gritty, which is the exact opposite of the world you just built. And it's going to feel convoluted. It's not, I think it's a bad idea to move forward with it as much as I do love the Batman. And I think the Batman is the best Batman movie they've made. It's not my favorite. My favorite is the Batman 89, but it's the best one they've made. It's the closest to the comics. It's the best tonally. Leave it alone and just start over.
Yeah, I mean, I disagree with that. I don't think it's the best one ever made. And however, I think just in terms of just like you said, it doesn't fit into this world.
No.
Even like when we did our review of The Penguin, which is a great show, that show is grounded too much in reality.
Yeah.
And now to have that character now fight Batman to be off the wall. It wouldn't even make any
Right.
sense. Those are totally different. They feel like totally different worlds. So
Well, the other problem you have with that, it's like you're supposed to root for Batman to beat up the Penguin, but they made the Penguin
I know.
essentially the hero, right? The likable protagonist of the show. And now he has to go back to being a villain. That's why he's probably gonna have a diminished role. How are you gonna see Batman punch a guy that you just watched for an entire season and you were
Yeah.
rooting for? It would This is why you don't make content based on the villains.
Yes.
This is the reason you don't do that, because you have to root against them. They're the
Yep.
bad guy.
Yeah. And then you almost
Good as that show was,
yeah. So like he's like Scarface. He's like
right,
the anti-hero. Yeah.
right.
Yeah. No question. And I think the other
And who
room.
do you make the villain? You have to pick a throwaway villain for the second Batman
Yeah.
movie,
That's what's
because
gonna.
you don't want to ruin, or not even ruin, but use the Joker only to have another new Joker. You don't want to use a big name villain that James Gunn has to reinvent again.
Yeah. Well, according to this article, they're saying the rumor is Mr. Freeze or Clayface.
I don't think it's
Obviously.
going to be Clayface, because Clayface is getting his own movie in the Gunverse.
Okay.
They're doing an actual Clayface standalone movie. It's going to be a body horror movie, which makes sense for the character, but that's going to be its own thing inside the Gunverse. I don't think they would let Matt Reeves use Clayface.
Okay.
So Mr. Freeze could be, and that's fine. I like Mr. Freeze. I hope they base it on the animated series version.
Yeah.
Part
Yeah.
of Ice, one of the best episodes of any TV show ever. But even then, it's like, I'd rather just see it in the real universe and I don't know. I don't think the next Batman movie makes that much money.
No way. That's why I
I
don't
think
even.
people are going to wait for the Gun one.
Yep. There's just too many things that just aren't going for it. A
Yeah.
lot of big characters aren't going to be in it. It's just that's the Titanic. It's going to go down. You can't. So saving that film.
They could have based an entire franchise, DCU, starting with the Batman, and then built on that universe and made everything else fall apart. They didn't go that way. Then you have to leave this one alone now.
Yeah.
You can't give me Pattinson Batman, and now I have to meet another new Batman, and then give me Pattinson's Joker, meet another new Stop.
It's exhausting.
It's exhausting. This is why that's a problem, and they should not make as much as I do love that Batman movie, end it with one. It was a good movie, had a lot of success, and made a bunch of money, and move into the Gun Batman.
Yeah.
And that Gun Batman movie is going to be real interesting, because I don't think you're going to get a dark movie at all. And I'm okay with that, but I don't think the general public is going to be.
I think you're going to get with James Gunn's Batman. I think what you're going to get is, I'll say, like the Batman animated series or like the Justice League animated series kind of tone, where he still be the dark one. Then it'll be a little bit more colorful. It's going to be in that realm. I don't think he's not going to turn into it. He's not going to get like an Adam West kind of thing. It's not going to be like that.
I think you're going to get a Batman in blue and gray. He's going to wear blue in this one. And I don't know if it's necessarily going to be bright blue and gray like Adam West, like you said.
Yeah.
But I would be shocked if he doesn't wear blue and gray. I would be shocked if he's not dropping a chum here and there. The Batman movie is called The Brave and the Bold. And The Brave and the Bold is known for being a lighthearted cartoon. It's a team-up comic book where he's not that dark because he's working with other heroes in the comic books. James Gunn when he makes these things, he's very deliberate with some of the choices he makes. I don't think he'd call this The Brave and the Bold if he wasn't going to have a Brave and the Bold tone.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to see something lighter than the animated series.
Wow.
Yeah, I think you're going to see something lighter than the animated series. It's not going to be Superman bright. It'll take place at night because it's Batman, all that. But you're going to have you're going to see a Batman that's way more, I don't want to use the word smiley, but he's not going to be dark at all, I don't think.
Maybe a little, I guess I'm thinking animated series, not like I said, I'll say more towards the Justice League when he's hanging out with Martian Manhunter and all that.
Yeah.
Or maybe even, I think that might be an extreme to say Lego Batman, but.
Yeah, I don't know. That might be extreme. I mean, I think there's a comic book where he's interacting with Dick Grayson as a kid. And the speech that he basically gives him is like, when you're in the Batcave and you're training, you get all of your anger out here. Because when we go out and we fight the bad guys, we don't know what their story is, and we can't blame them for being bad. So we stop them, but we don't hurt them. And that's the tone I think you're going to get, where he's basically saying, we're not here to punish a bad guy. We're not the jury. We apprehend and we give them compassion because we don't know why they're in this scenario, which is the Batman that I prefer. That's the Batman that I like. but I don't think the general public is going to want that Batman. I think today people want him to be much more. I mean, Affleck's Batman and all the Batman in the movies have killed people in the movies going forward. They're throwing people with bombs in sewers. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah. I
gunning
think
people down with big tanks and all that other stuff in all these movies. Batman in the movies has never been like Batman in the comics. People want that dark, gritty, realistic tone, and I don't think that's what you're going to get. You're going to get a Batman that fits in with the Justice League, where it's not uncommon for him to fight supernatural science fiction things, and he's going to smile while he does it a little bit. I think the Batman movie will be a hit for comic book people and a huge like if we thought Superman had a divide, I think that Batman movie is going to have a huge divide. Like that's going to make a huge divide that makes everyone say, "Oh wow, Superman was very one-sided positively with how much people are going to dislike the Batman movie." That's my guess.
right. And I guess if you're going that point of view, if I was exec, I'd be like, like we need to make money here, as much money as possible.
Yeah.
So, I know we always say if you try to make everybody, you're not gonna. If you try to make everyone happy,
You're making nobody happy.
right. However, Superman didn't. Like I said, whatever was all these different factors, it didn't do as well as they expected it to be. Same thing with Fantastic Four, but.
Fantastic Four, that's a box office miss. I don't know what happened there.
We said it before. I think it's fatigue, and
Yeah.
I think it's you've been doing 20 years of this, 25 years of this. It's people getting burnt out. It's a different generation.
Did that even make 500 million yet? Did it cross that barrier yet? Yeah, because I know for a while they were like, it may not hit 500. You're like, how is that possible?
Yep.
That has to have. If it didn't hit 500 or it's just over 500, it has to have lost money.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think it has, or just broke even. I don't know the exact numbers, but
they said they cut Pedro Pascal's role in the next Avengers movie after this movie came out. He was supposed to be the main guy in the next Avengers movie because you're fighting Doom.
Yeah.
And I heard they cut so much of his stuff out and focused on other characters. I mean, if that's what they're doing because this movie was such a flop that they don't want to reference it as much, you're in big trouble.
I also say it's very interesting with all between Matt Reeves, Batman, James Gunn's universe, and this. Supposedly Disney wants to. Maybe Disney will be the beginning of everyone trying to start something new because all this stuff seems like they're just kind of polishing the brass on the Titanic. It's all going to be going down.
Yeah.
And lastly, speaking of resurrecting things, Pirates of the Caribbean 6. So nothing's been confirmed. So this is according to slashfilm.com. They were talking about that, how Orlando Bloom, they kind of talked to him about it, and he says he has no idea what the story for Pirates 6 would be. He says, Is
he supposed to be in it?
Yeah, he said he would definitely come back in it. I think he's kind of looking for roles, from what I read from the article. But he says, do you bring back a female leading character that replicates Jack in some way, meaning Jack Sparrow? I don't know. Because originally,
he's not coming back. Didn't he say he wouldn't come back for $1 billion and all the goats or whatever?
Yeah. I guess he's changing his tune now. He said that, as we know, Margot Robbie was actually supposed to do like a reboot in 2020, but then in 2022, the project, I guess, got shelved.
Yeah, that got shut down.
And then it said Jerry Bruckheimer in 2024 said he still intends to make a reboot and a Margot Robbie spinoff. So, but I never saw a Dead Man Tells No Tales, but in the post-credits scene, there is a hint that Davy Jones is going to make a return. And I guess my thing with this, PJ, and that later in the article also says that Orlando Bloom says he would basically only come back if you got Gore Verbinski, the guy who did the original director for the first three, would come back. And he said if you bring back everybody, Depp, I can't think of his name, Jeffrey Rush, I think he died anyway. And not in real life in the movie. The guy who plays Barbosa,
But in that kind of movie, you could get around that. And he can come back.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Sea monster or some shit. Yeah.
So, look, I love the first Pirates of the Caribbean, and then I remember I did you see the second one? Did I see the second one with you?
Yeah, I think we did, yeah.
Yeah, I remember, I actually was confused. I'm still confused about the whole, they're playing that chessboard game with dice or something. But, because I love Davy Jones, man. He looked cool, man. I like him.
He was great. He looked great.
But that movie
Although
itself...
I did get mad when they put him in the ride.
Yeah. Yeah, they refurbished it.
Yeah, and they had like his face instead of the old pirate skull. Although I think they've since switched back.
Right, yeah. I don't know, PJ. I did enjoy the Pirates movie. Unfortunately, those movies did not get better as they went on. They got worse and worse. I didn't see
There's
Stranger
only so much
Ties.
you could do. I've seen them all, and they're not memorable.
I only saw the
And
first
essentially, they're
3.
all
That
the
was it.
same. At some point, it's just him running around.
Yeah.
And look, they're entertaining enough, I guess. And as much as he says some funny lines, there's always action in them. But
Yeah.
story wise, they're a mess. They're all over the place, and that's. I also think that's because Johnny Depp should never have been the main character. He wasn't supposed to be.
Exactly.
It was supposed to be Orlando Bloom's character, and he had the personality of a wet fish. So everyone gravitated toward the more charismatic character. But sometimes there's a reason there's a role player and not the main star in the film. And
Yeah.
that I think really caused a problem when you started focusing on the guy that was the comic relief.
Yep.
Like Han Solo was never the main star of Star Wars. He's
Yeah.
everyone's favorite character, but never the main guy, right? Luke Skywalker was. In this, we decided to focus on Han Solo for the entire franchise, and it got a little, it got a little boring.
Yeah. No, I agree. That's exactly why those movies did fail. There's too much emphasis on he said he worked best as a side character. That's why it was still the best. And his character was the funniest still in the first one.
Yep.
But yeah, PJ, who knows what's going to happen with the Pirates of the Caribbean?
That's a franchise I think you could save, though, because you could just have a brand new cast of new pirates doing new pirate things, and you get likable characters, and you can save that franchise. There are many pirates in the sea. It
Yeah.
could even be the same boat. You could start that movie where someone gets that boat, they kill everyone, and now he's the new captain of the boat, and you just move on. If you want some thread line to a new trilogy,
Yeah.
you can do that and just focus on all new characters, and it'll be fine. I think you can save that franchise without a problem.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
That actually lends itself to being an anthology sort of franchise where every movie is about a different set of pirates.
Yeah. No question. Absolutely. I agree. So, folks, that's kind of the wrap up of our Hollywood news update. So we have a lot to, I'm not sure if you look forward to, but a lot to look to. I'll say curious to see what happens, to investigate from the sidelines to see what happens with these films. Disney's direction, and obviously these other major studios. These are big franchises, PJ. And hopefully it will lead to something new. It seems like everyone's not making, like, at the end of the day, the wallets really determine things. If you're not making money, you have to find something else that will. And all these things haven't made money, as much money as they like anyway.
I have a crazy thought for Disney. If they're void of the ability to create new IP, right? Can they bring back, if you're trying to bring boys into the mix, can they revive 2 old franchises? If that's the only way we can do it, can you bring back Gargoyles, and can you bring back Rescue Rangers?
Yeah. Actually,
right. They tried with that. They tried with movie, and it was I actually thought that movie was really fun.
I never seen. I gotta watch it. Yeah.
It was you'd probably like it. It has Roger Rabbit vibes. I'm not saying it's as good as Roger Rabbit.
Yes,
but it has Roger Rabbit vibes. So I think you would like that. But are those 2 franchises then you could bring back? Because if you bring back, they're both adventures. Like you said, you need more adventure. Can you rehabilitate those franchises and use that to try and bring people back in? Or if you want something more live action, can they bring back for the millionth time, but this time get it right, the Power Rangers?
That should be possible.
Right?
However, for some reason, they have a hard time, difficulty.
They really do.
I think they don't. I think they don't know what to do with the Zords. You know what I mean? Where they can't know how to give it. Like you can't go the Transformers route. You have to really. I think the best thing is. I love how I think still looks way ahead of its time is District 9, right? Yeah, District 9.
Yeah.
You just make those machines in it look just bigger scale.
Yeah.
It should be good to go.
Like, can they use that franchise? Because it seems like they're struggling for the new stuff.
Yeah.
If we have to go back into the well, I think those 3 franchises should be where they focus some of their time and effort. Because those also play well in theme parks, so you can build theme parks to it. Can you imagine if on the castle in one of these Disney parks was a gargoyle?
Oh, yeah.
For the promotion, not obviously not forever, but as like a promotional sort of thing for the show. Where you see the castle and a gargoyle sitting up there. And I think that's something that can work. That ties into the history like we were saying, fictional history.
Yep.
You could use that because they come from, I forget where they were from was it Scotland, wherever it was from in the cartoon. You could bring some of that, the Macbeth stuff, like you were saying, all ties into it. I think Rescue Rangers is something that can play to an older audience and a younger audience, and it's all adventure based. And Power Rangers is big robots fighting big monsters, man. Like those 3 franchises, maybe they need to spend money on those franchises, and maybe that's the start. And then when it starts getting popular, then you sprinkle in some new IP.
Yes.
Because you already have an audience for that IP now.
Yeah.
Right now, you don't have an audience for a new boy themed, right? Because they're not watching it.
Yeah.
So you have to develop something new that no one knows or already doesn't care about. Whereas if you can touch on the nostalgia first, get the audience, and then give them new things.
Yeah.
That would be my recommendation to Disney.
Yeah. And I would just, and just to piggyback off that, I think you kind of see it happening now, but I think the next route we're going to see of movies is going to be more video game type movies. You're going to see, they already did Super Mario and
Zelda's coming. Sonic was really good.
Yep. I think if you want more boy oriented stuff, this is Disney, but like if you're Universal or Warner Brothers, you gotta use Contra. You gotta use that. You gotta use Contra. Use what's that? What's that one?
Here's a thought.
Metroid.
Use Kingdom Hearts.
That could get a lot of that.
That's already Disney.
Exactly. You have all the characters in there.
Yeah.
And I think another thing they can do to make things cool at live action is like it's got so popular now is like anime, man. It's just different. It's totally huge. It's so mainstream, but like if you just even make like even those classic films like not like Ghost in the Shell or Princess Mononoke, not any of those, but like if you do like a My Neighbor Totoro and you have you use not CGI, you use actual like Muppet puppeteering. All that kind of stuff you can get. I think you make a lot of money with those films, and those movies are so creative too. All the anime stuff. You made like there's countless stuff. There's One Piece is huge. Kids love that thing. When I was just in South Carolina, there's so many One Piece. There was everywhere. Kids are wearing the hats.
It really is everywhere.
Huge. All those shows.
They just had Anime Con. I think it was in Javits this weekend.
Yes, it's a huge thing.
They have a whole convention just for the anime stuff. It's definitely a market for that.
Right.
I just don't know if Disney's going to tap into that.
Yep.
I think they'd be afraid to try.
PJ, I think you just inspired me. I think I know what the next thing they need to bring back. You just inspired me. That's male, like very masculine, and it has and kids can watch it and it's fun. It's not like like you said, like kids can't watch RoboCop now. It's not going to happen.
Right.
You got to bring back old school kind of Jackie Chan type films where you just have a regular guy, kind of like John Wick without like blowing all people's heads off, but you find your new Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee, and you have him in those. And if you think about those Jackie Chan films, those are hilarious.
Kung Fu movies,
exactly.
If they bring straight up Kung Fu movies, I'm going to be in the theater every week.
Exactly. That's it. I
love all those movies. I could watch that stuff on repeat.
Yes,
but that's the same thing. Like, why is they fizzled out the same way Westerns did? But bring them back.
You can. It's right there.
That's easy to bring back.
Yeah.
That's so easy to bring back. Marvel had an opportunity to do that, but they ruined it with Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
That could have been, but
Yeah. Yes.
But bring it back. Oh my God, definitely bring back Kung Fu movies. Just one dude fighting a million people.
Yeah.
The story is just, he has to get from A to B. Like, that's it.
Yeah. And think about Jackie Chan's film. Like, Jackie Chan, First Strike, he's like usually a cop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And these different, or Operation Condor, he's like somewhat military. Or Rumble in the Bronx, he's like, he owns like a deli or something like that.
Yeah. There's the simplest plot. There's nothing crazy. It's really, all right, he's a cop. He's got to fight a bad guy. He owns a deli. He's got to fight the bad guy. Right. Everything is just something bad's about to happen, and he has to karate his way through it and for it. But who do you even get at this point to?
I'm sure there's some.
That? There's got to be.
Yeah, and it can't.
There's got to be one of those Cobra Kai kids.
Yeah, and I don't
want one of them.
I don't want it to be like. I want it to be Jackie Chan action. I don't want like the Transporter, like with Jason Statham, that kind of action, or the Rock action and his action movies. I want legit people doing stunts, going up a ladder, and
Stall Corey.
Yep, exactly. That's it, guys. PJ, we saved Hollywood. That's the thing. Bring back Kung Fu movies, use anime, and use franchises that never really.
I'm going to tell you what we should do. We should make a kung fu movie.
Yes, maybe that'll be our next film. Yes,
that'll be our next project. We're gonna make a kung fu film.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, a kung fu film with someone like Jack Black doing it is comedy gold.
Right.
I mean, that's like
A live
that brings you
action,
an audience. Live action
Kung Fu Panda.
Panda. Yeah, that's just comedy. But no, for real though, for a real kung fu movie, you got to get a kung fu guy. But they're out there.
Yes,
There's definitely someone in the Cobra Kai universe that can.
Yes.
You know, you pluck up that actor and pop him in his own movie and make it
Exactly.
work for sure.
Mm-hmm. No question. So yeah, kids. That's
Ooh,
about
maybe
it.
the guy from the new Karate Kid movie that nobody saw.
Yeah.
Yeah, that new kid. No
Yeah,
one saw that movie, so we'll get him a
No one
fresh
even
start.
knows.
Yeah,
He already cut his teeth. So yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, so we got through the news. We made our recommendations to Hollywood. Hopefully maybe they'll listen to us. Who knows?
We'll send this episode straight to Hollywood.
Yes, we figured it out. Same time, same table.
See you next week.
Boys and girls, lunchtime is over. For more information, visit their website at coolkidslunchtable.podbean.com. Follow the boys on all social media platforms. Just search Cool Kids Lunch Table Podcast. Now get to class before you get detention.